So welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 576. Now, in this episode, we're going to go into a subject which we don't always know too deeply about. We don't know how to process it, because the subject's going to be emotions. You see, a lot of the time we try to bury the emotions. We try to get rid of them. We try to run away from them. We try to repress them. And if we think of what an emotion is, oh, and by the way, we can see why would we repress emotions? Why would we try to run away from them? Because most of the time, those emotions we're running away are going to be negative. Now, the main emotions that the body feels, and yes, there's going to be variants of it, but it's usually going to be anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, and shame. Now, other emotions are usually, not all the time, but usually made up of those predominant emotions. Now, if we think about what an emotion is, the emotion is telling us something. Is trying to communicate something, is trying to get us to pay attention. And if we keep on repressing emotions, and I'm going to show you, or at least tell you how you can, so you can process them in a healthy way. But if we keep on repressing emotions, those emotions will tend to expand sometimes. Sometimes they will kind of get worse, and they can even lead to other issues, because negative emotions, if we feel them too often, they can break the chain of good health. If you're in a state of anger for too long, it has a direct effect on your heart. If you are feeling guilt or shame, it is absolutely in direct conflict with your ability to heal the body. Even if you don't know why that is, well, if we feel guilty, if we feel shame over something, then we don't deserve to be healthy. We don't deserve to feel good about ourselves. So that does actually lower the healing aspect of our neurology, our unconscious mind. So, who runs the emotions? Now, of course, we have the good ones, which we want to keep, but we also have those emotions which we try to run away from. Well, it's your unconscious mind. You see, you rarely choose how you feel. You rarely consider, like, oh, I'm going to feel happy or I'm going to feel sad. Now, of course, it can happen at a conscious level, but they're being held beneath the surface. They're being held at an unconscious level. Now, let's take a look at the buildup of emotions. Let's just say you've gone through a significant emotional event or sequence of events. Maybe it's something what someone did to us. Maybe it's how the world threw something at us, and we unconsciously began to react in a certain way. Now, if you're listening to this in the podcast, I'm going to be doing a visual demonstration, but I'll verbalize it so it hopefully makes sense. Hey, and if you want to do it with me to get that kinesthetic knowing of how it works, feel free to go ahead and do that in the audio, because this is being broadcasted live on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Joseph Clough for all those listening to this on the app or the podcast. Now, in your mind or even physically, I want you to go ahead and make a fist with one hand. Now, with that fist, I want you to imagine that that is one of those events. Now, if that was one of the events how it is right now, it's okay. But after a while, if we have gone through a significant emotional event, put your hand over that fist. That hand is going to be an emotion. And you may have lots of emotions on that one singular event, or if you have many events. So that event is going to be energetically charged with an emotion. And it could be the anger, it could be the sadness, it could be the fear, guilt, hurt, shame, and everything in between. It could be all of them for some people. But that event has a negative, energetically charged emotion attached to it. So as we go off in life, sometimes we can be pulling in our past into our present situation. And I'm sure you've noticed that before. Maybe you've been in a relationship which was very toxic, hurtful, and sometimes you will begin to bring in the same beliefs and the same conditioned emotions into the new relationship, almost as if you're projecting it onto that person. And it can be the exact same thing with your career. Maybe we got laid off, maybe went for that interview, it didn't work out. We can be neurologically conditioned to feel and have associations to things based on our past situation. So in any moment, we can be bringing in our past. So we're not seeing the world how it is. We are feeling these emotions. And like I said, we can try to run away from them. We can try to bury them. But no matter how far we run away, no matter how much we try to bury them, they're still there. Just looking in the different opposite direction doesn't mean that everything's going to be good and great. Now, on the same notion, and this is very, very important, it is also probably not a good, healthy thing to just feel that emotion and look at it as if you're looking into the mirror and try to feel those emotions. Because those emotions can cause us to feel worse, because now we're bringing those emotions into this present event, this present moment. So we have to acknowledge a couple of things of how can we process negative emotions. Now, I actually get hired to go to different countries to teach a process of releasing negative emotions. And when I teach therapists this, on how to let go of emotions, we have to understand this as a basic way of being. That our past, of how we see the world or how we see our past, those events are going to have a negative charge and emotion. But more importantly, going back to the original point, holding on to them, burying them is not going to be good for us. Looking at them and feeling them is not going to be good for us. But we have to understand why our unconscious mind does this. Well, it's going to give you that emotion until we pay attention to it. You see, sometimes it's good to be angry. And you might be going, no, it's not. Well, let's just say if I'm being attacked by someone, maybe that fight and flight response, that anger, shows that I'm needing to do something. Sometimes I could feel angry if my values have been violated, because it shows that I have a boundary. Now, it's not good to feel overwhelming anger, but it is a human emotion. We shouldn't just switch them off. Even sadness is something that there's always a positive intention to. It shows maybe we've been hurt and that we need to pay attention to that. And once again, maybe our values have been violated. Maybe that guilt, as I said, is there to ultimately make sure we don't do something bad again. Now, once again, it could be overwhelmingly inappropriate and unwarranted, but look at the intention. Look at the reason as to why our unconscious mind does this. It's the intention behind it. Same thing with shame when it comes to guilt. When it comes to fear, that's an easy one. That is protection. But it does it in an overwhelming and an inappropriate way. So it's trying to scream out at us that something is happening, that we need to process it. But if we are not processing it, it can get louder and it can actually be passed on to different situations. It can be projected into that new relationship. It can go into that new job. It can actually expand on the vertical into other areas of your life. So now you're thinking, well, Joseph, how do I do this? Well, if our unconscious mind is trying to tell us something, if it's trying to do something with a positive intention, this is my solution to releasing negative emotions within our system. And it's called simply learning. You see, once you get your unconscious mind to learn from the past in a comfortable way, where those learnings are positive, they're for the future, and they're for yourself. Because you can't have learnings for other people. You don't want necessarily learnings for the past, and you definitely don't want negative learnings. But when they're for yourself, when they are positive and for the future, guess what happens? Not only does that emotion have to disappear because we paid attention to it, because we've learned from it, but those learnings will be there for you in the future. The learnings will keep you safe, and therefore that inappropriate level of fear is no longer needed. Once you have the unconscious learnings about the sadness, then we can release the emotion because we've learned what we've needed to learn. Now, in my opinion, it always gets best to get an expert with this. So you're actually working with someone. Look for someone who can support you. Find a program, find a system who can assist you with that. I actually do have a negative emotion release hypnosis session on the app, which you can find at freehypnosis.app. But ideally, I always say it's good to be able to work with someone who is trained in releasing negative emotions, who knows it in a way like I've just tried to express, but it's about learning from them, not repressing, not running away, not just letting them fester and get worse and worse. It's about processing them. Now, one of the tips that you can do is this, though. One of the tips of processing emotions by yourself is trying to, and it sounds very, very weird, it's putting emotional, grieving, releasing emotions in a time box period. What does that mean? Well, you've got to take a portion of your day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, every day, to process that emotion, but be done with it after that 5 or 10 minutes is up. Now, by being done with it doesn't mean it's going to be released, but you're now setting up a time for your unconscious mind to process that emotion, rather it being there throughout your day, in and out of your day continuously. You're literally setting up the criteria to your unconscious mind that, you know what, at 6 p.m., I'm going to just spend 5 minutes honoring the emotion, acknowledging it in a safe way, and then at the end asking your unconscious mind, what can I learn from this? What needs to be learned that once learned will allow me to be safer than ever before, allow me to be safer than this present situation of this emotion? That means your unconscious mind is now being heard. You've been running away too long. You've been repressing too long. And now suddenly your unconscious mind is saying, okay, I'm ready to release this. I know at 6 p.m. to 6:10 p.m., we're going to work upon this. We're going to process it from a distance. We're not going into events, but we're going to almost welcome it and go, do you know what? It's okay. I will be okay because I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to learn from the emotion. When you preserve the learnings, your unconscious mind has to absolutely let those emotions go, because the learnings will keep you safer, and the prime directive of your unconscious mind is protection. That is why it's been running it. That's why it's been giving us those emotions. So you're actually connecting with your unconscious mind. You're saying it's okay. I'm ready to release it, and you're making sure you're doing it on your terms, not that it's bleeding out into this area of your day, that you're saying in this 10 minutes, I'm going to honor myself, I'm going to honor my unconscious mind, and I'm going to honor the emotion that I'm feeling. We've been running away too long, and we have to honor our emotions. Our emotions are causing us to feel. It's causing us how to act. It's even cultivating our belief systems, because you know if you feel, say, sad for a prolonged amount of time, you will get depressed. You will start to direct that to your esteem. The feelings that we have in the system are usually our guidance system. Yes, beliefs are, yes, values are, but emotions are very, very good in achieving our goals. So, if we think about our goals, we want to make sure we feel good about them. We want to make sure we're motivated. We want to make sure we are in a state of gratitude for what we have and also what is coming our way. Because that means we're an energetic match to our desires. But if they're negative, what signal are we sending out to our system? What signal are we sending out to our beliefs? How we act and react in any moment? So it's time to acknowledge what is happening. It's time to be connected with your unconscious mind. It's time to consider that I'm going to process these emotions. I'm going to honor them because they were a part of my experience and they were trying to help me. So don't hate on the anger. Don't hate on the fear. Don't be fearful of the fear because that can be a common one. Don't be shameful of the shame. Realize you're human. That as a human, we go through a kaleidoscope of events and therefore a kaleidoscope of emotions. But it's how you process them. Sometimes we want to keep some, sometimes we want to process and let them go. And it's down to you. But if you're feeling any levels of grief, anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, shame, all of those emotions, and you are ready to release them, because we're not always ready. And you know what? That's okay too. This is your life. If you want to take longer in processing emotions, for sure, do so. Because that is part of honoring the emotion by being aware of how and when you would like to process it. But at the very least, you can begin to decipher between what is warranted and what is unwarranted. If you have an overwhelming fear, or therefore maybe a phobia, that is not keeping you safe. If we're having overwhelming anger, that is definitely not going to be good for the external, as in the people in your life, or imploding by keeping that emotion there. But if you can limit, if you can reduce, if you can process a little bit each day, you will be regaining the freedom, the emotional freedom to do what has to be done. And to me, as I said, it always comes down to learning. Because when you learn, you honor. When you learn, you grow. When you learn, you become safer. And I don't believe that any unconscious in the mind or any unconscious mind in the world will ever say no to being safer, because it's there to protect you. It's there to keep you safe. It's there to honor you too. So let's take a moment to honor those emotions. Block it out in your day. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, every day, every other day. This is all on you, and also means you can choose the timetable of processing. But make sure that once you're done, you're done. But once that 10 minutes is done, you're out of that. Time to get on with your day, time to get back to what you need to utilize those learnings, knowing tomorrow you could have another 5-10 minutes of doing so. What this does, it reduces the overwhelming emotion. It doesn't linger. It's not always there. You're telling your unconscious mind, this is what we'll do. This is our time of reconnecting anew. And as I said, I cannot stress it enough. It is all about learning. So feel the emotion, process it as much or as little as you like. But always ask, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from the emotion? What can I learn from the past event that created it, or events that once learned will keep me safer, that will allow you, the unconscious mind, to be safer because of it? And then your unconscious mind will do so. And what does it mean once you do? You can start to welcome in more emotions. You can start to feel the good, the better, the greater emotions that you truly want. And that could be emotional freedom or the feeling of freedom. It could be more confidence, more happiness, more excitement, more passion, more purpose, whatever it is for you. Because once you start to outlet some emotion, you can start to build in the emotions that you want. So another quick tip, what you could do, just came to my mind, is once you're done with that 5-10 minute of processing, go ahead and start to feel something good. Play that music, watch that movie. Start to energize yourself. Look, once I'm done, I'm ready to feel good, because we've got our cup, we've emptied it a little bit, and now we're going to replenish it with things which make us feel good. Now, for me, one of the favorite emotions that I go to, because it's the easiest, other than playing music and so on, is the feeling of gratitude. Because gratitude causes you to feel, obviously, thankful. And that being thankful gives you a level of security. It gives you a level of comfort. And there are many things for you and I to be really, really grateful for. It could be if you have a roof, if you have food to eat, if you have clean water. Not everyone does. Maybe you have a community that can support you and you can support too. Maybe you have that friend, that pet, that job, whatever it is. There's always something to be grateful for. And if you want to go on a little bit advanced, I always add another level, which is I wonder what else I can be grateful for that is coming my way. Because when you're grateful for what is coming your way, once again, that emotion is going to be directing you to new possibilities and new opportunities that can and will support you. When you feel the good feelings of what you have and then go, oh my goodness, I am ready and so grateful for what good is coming my way, you are sending a clear signal to your brain, your neurology, to look for it. Do you remember what I said when you are feeling negative emotions, like say sadness? It's going to have an effect on your physiology. It's going to have an effect on your esteem. Once you've got to get your mind into grateful for what I have, grateful for what is coming my way, your brain is wired up, and it's hard in the beginning, but it's going to be looking for other things to be grateful for. And that multiplies. Gratefulness adds to esteem. Gratefulness gives you more hope. Now, we're not talking about wishful thinking here either. This is the biology of the mind, the neurology, the chemicals, our happiness chemicals, all of those things. So let's break it down as a recap. Number one, we want to make sure we can prioritize our time in processing emotions and be done with that processing after a set time, knowing you can do the same tomorrow. Then that means you are honoring your mind. You're no longer running, you're no longer repressing, and therefore you're honoring not only the emotion, but you're also honoring your unconscious mind, which means you're getting back on track with your integrity within yourself, the mind and body connection. And as I said, once we're done, the next step is change your state. You did it. You spend the 5-10 minutes, and now it's time to feel good. Oh, back step very quickly. When you're doing the process emotions, ask yourself, what can I learn from this which will allow me to be safer? And make sure that is for yourself, for the future, and that what is positive. Having done that, now it's time to feel good. Easy go-to ones is the gratitude, but anything which makes you sing. Songs which get you going. Connecting with people which make you happy. Any and all of those things. And as I said, I like gratitude because it makes you feel better almost immediately, because there's always something to feel gratitude for. And on top of that, the next step, I wonder what else I can be grateful for that is coming my way. And as always, as I said, make sure that you find someone who can assist you with this, or at least allow you to explore and express those emotions in a way that makes you feel good, because it can be hard doing it yourself. Now, of course, as I said, we do actually have the Hypnosis app, and you can find that at freehypnosis.app. And on that app, you'll be able to find all these free episodes in there, over 100 free hypnosis sessions. You can also purchase the whole app and unlock everything from the custom to the general, and they all come in day and night version. So that's freehypnosis.app. And then on top of that, if you want to go ahead and potentially work with us to let go of specifically the inner critic, the imposter syndrome, if you have any doubts about your ability and who you are, you might be going into your job, and especially here right now, when things are opening up, you might be thinking, am I going to be found out? I know with some of my clients I'm working with, there are organizational changes in the business because of the year that we've had, and that can give us doubt in our own ability. So go ahead to josephclough.info/power to watch our masterclass. It's only like 35-40 minutes or so, and it'll give you a good idea. There's nothing to buy. I don't want you to buy anything on that video. I want you to see if you connect with it. If you do connect with it and you go, oh my goodness, this feels like me. This feels like who I am, and I want to overcome that, then you may have an opportunity to book a call with us, fill out an application, and then if we're a good fit, we'll see if we can get you on our fully custom-made, tailored 8-week system to let it all go with, yes, of course, within those 8 weeks. So that's josephclough.info/power. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I cannot wait to speak to you on a future one. So I'm going to wish you a wonderful rest of the day. So many thanks and goodbye.